Linda.
So,
Well, at this point, we are still down a member or two, and Mel was the first alternate to join us. So Mel, you're a voting member right now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. First item on the agenda is minutes of the last meeting. I wasn't there. Bruce, looks like from the minutes that you were able to run it very successfully. So
I think we had a good meeting. I didn't hear too many boos and.
no.
We were
Good
afraid.
job.
So was I.
So anyhow, does anybody want to make any corrections or additions to this meeting that was held on September 17th?
Motion to accept the meeting minutes of September
September
27th.
17th.
I second.
17 is written.
Got a second? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Linda?
Yeah.
And I abstain because I was watching the ocean.
on holiday. in
Yeah,
beautiful
I was on
Oklahoma.
holiday. Okay, we got the first thing done. What else we got here? Oh, let's see. Oh, we got a memo to the Planning Commission from zoning regarding 33 and 35 Woodview Drive. Got several pieces of correspondence on it, but I think the correspondence that's most important to us is the one that we got from Tom Beecher, which basically says these lots were probably created before we even had zoning and planning things in place back in the late 50s. And to me, it looks like the way Tom has handled it, he's thrown the ball back to zoning on this one. I don't think we have anything to do with it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, they asked for an opinion and we talked about it at the meeting you missed. Clearly, we didn't have access to the Beecher email, or there was also a constituent sent in an email as well to help to provide some color clarity and commentary as to how and why this happened. And the initial strategy seemed to be straightforward. And unfortunately, like everything else in zoning land, it seems to be more complicated than it was on surface value.
Yep.
So, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I was inclined to approve, to give a blessing to the proposed change because they are the only two lots on the street that are not zoned the same. But in looking at the documentation that's come to light in the past, in the most recent 2 weeks, it seems like there are potentially extenuating circumstances that might cause us to rethink.
Well, I rode by that lot, those quote two lots this afternoon. It looks like there's only room for about one house anyhow. It
Right.
doesn't-
They're not big parcels to begin
No,
with.
they're not big parcels at all.
But I think, with good intention, I think the person that bought it intended to do something like that.
Well, I think we let zoning take care of its problem.
Mhm.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay too.
Yeah, I gotta step away for a second, take a stop.
Okay.
I'm agreed with you, John, to
All right.
let zoning deal with it. Given the complications and the prior history that we were not aware of at the last meeting, vetted by Tom Beecher, the attorney, I agree. I think we should just step away and let the
Let
powers
zoning take care of it because it's.
adjudicate.
All right.
I have to step, John, I apologize. I have to step
No,
away.
no problem. I got a late breaking memo from Christine Murphy this afternoon around 4 o'clock or so about zoning, wanting to do a proposed zone and map changes. Looks like in the area of Candlewood Lake. I don't know if you folks have had time to pick it up and had any time to review it. But since it was late breaking news, we could defer it to our next meeting if you want. Because they need input from us before the 22nd of October. Are you?
I would prefer to wait.
Yeah, I don't know if you read it or not.
I have not had a chance.
Yeah, not had a chance. Linda, you probably didn't get it either. Basically what it is, it looks like they've submitted, the zoning commission has submitted an application to change zone and the zoning map. And it's for 7 addresses currently in an R40 zone to become MC zone. And the public hearing is going to be held October 22nd. And it looks like when they did their update, they left out a few places that they wanted to make sort of MC zone, which is a mixed commercial zone. So anyhow, I think we can comment on that at the next meeting since people haven't had time to read it.
Yeah, it sounds like what they want to do is undo their prior error
Yeah,
and bring it back to what it was, which is accurate for the purpose.
yeah, well,
So,
we'll table it to the next
Yeah.
meeting.
makes perfect sense, John.
Yep. Okay, let's see, that's the next item, new business, that was, just came in today. Oh, correspondence is what we're at.
Yep.
We're going through this agenda fast as lightning. Board of Selectmen minutes of September 8. Steve gave a COVID update. The Arts Commission, I don't know if you read that, but they're talking about a statue. I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about it at the last meeting, John, the proposal for the Caledon or stainless steel.
Yeah, that's,
Illuminated at night. We did discuss it in detail at the last meeting, and I actually read the announcement from the Arts Commission
yeah,
of the proposal and the fact that the plan is to have it accent illuminated at night with additional lighting. So, yeah, it sounds really nice. It sounds really nice. And I know there was a document that came out today from the first selectman's office that was asking for public comment.
right. He was looking for a comment by the 5th or 4th, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it seems really nice, and I think it's gonna add, the park and everything else is gonna add a lot to the town center district. And this
Yeah.
sounds like, I've seen pictures of it. Stainless
I
steel.
got a picture here. I don't know if you can see. No, you can't see it.
Yeah, we can say, it's a stainless steel statue that
Yeah, stainless steel.
articulates like a budding flower.
It's a little bit unusual, but hopefully it's a representative of the new rise of Brookfield's town center.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it sounds all good. It's all good stuff, and clearly, I think it'll be nice to continue the stage 3.
We could send a letter to Steve saying that the planning commission has taken a look at that. We think it's a good idea to go forth with the purchase of the sculpture.
Yeah, I think the general consensus at the last meeting was that it was, I read the announcement from the Arts Commission to everybody and entered that into the record. And it sounds like it's a nice gesture to, the pocket park's, I think, going to be a great addition.
Why don't we formalize it with a motion and send a letter to the Board of Selectmen?
Motion to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen recommending the Planning Commission concurrence or approval of the plan, Caledon stainless steel statue to be located in the pocket park as part of the stage 3 town center district project.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Was there anything else that came up? Oh, yeah, they also, I know 5G has been a topic that we've had on our agenda for a little while, and we'll talk a little bit more about the input that Bruce got. But we also got a note here that Dr. Sullivan, our Director of Health, says, hey, no adverse short or long-term effects, health effects. So 5G, we shouldn't be worrying about, I guess.
Yeah, well, but John, the background is, and we discussed this extensively, probably for 20 minutes at the last meeting, when you were away, was to, essentially I had requested that Alan Walp, who's a, subject matter expert / engineer / retired Navy, commission a document to me to articulate, the studies around 5G, the fact that a lot of the frequencies, in fact, are 3G, around the 3G and 4G spectrum.
Right.
And most importantly, that people like the military have been using this frequency for an excess of 50 years. And to my point was an articulation that, it is actually lower power than the cell phone towers, which is why the electronics need to be located on every fourth telephone pole, because it's actually a lot lower signal levels and therefore radiation levels than the current cell phone technology. So what Alan did is he looked at US and European governing bodies. We looked at the scientific, peer-reviewed studies, and he quoted to me in a document a bunch of case studies, saying, hey, it's no problem. And we had talked around, whether we could come out or should come out as a governing town body with a team recommendation or commission recommendation saying we as an organization. And so last meeting, we tabled it so that everybody could get a longer time to study Alan's document.
Right.
So I think
I went through it this afternoon. It looks like it's a moot point at this point when you got the director of health already.
Yeah, I think we've got the director of public health in Brookfield coming out in favor of it. But I think it's important for us to weigh in and to say, look, we concur. Here are some illustrations of peer-reviewed international case studies that support that 5G is a non-issue. And we believe, or we concur with the assessment as an
I
organization.
have no problem with forwarding on a note to the first selectman on that.
So would you entertain a motion?
I will entertain a motion.
Motion to author a planning, a recommendation document behind the Alan Wall 5G assessment email with a recommendation going forward to the Board of Selectmen that the Planning Commission support and endorse and concur with the Director of Public Health in the town to agree that there are no documented significant health issues relating to 5G, and that as a board, we don't see issues that should stop the further development and rollout in the community of 5G capable cell phone equipment on telephone poles.
We have a second.
I second.
Okay. I think you guys did a great job of pulling all this information together, by the way. I went through it this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's concise enough that it can be understood by the common person.
I got to call a vote. Let me call a vote.
Yep.
All those
I
in
wouldn't go
favor?
that far.
Aye. But I think Alan did a great job summarizing.
Yeah, it's a nice job. It really was. Let's go through other correspondence here. We got the Zoning Board of Appeals. I went through that this afternoon. The minutes of the September 1st meeting were typical business of usual for this commission. It was all residential issues, none of which have any impact on us. And then there was the zoning minutes of September 10th. And they're continuing their review of the new Huckleberry Hill School. Is there anything else I saw here?
And just, Mr. Chairman, I apologize for interrupting, just a point of information that the state Senate formalized the education funding bill, which includes the state portion of the $65 million Huckleberry Hill Elementary School construction budget. And
Great.
that was approved last night at about 3 a.m.
Super.
So it looks like we're going to get the funding. I know there's some question marks around the inland wetlands review. I'm not sure why it took so long to get to wetlands, which is kind of unfortunate, given where we are in the project.
Yeah, I know.
And hopefully it does not. I think it did pass with some stipulations, the plan, but I think there's some inconclusive verbiage in their passing of the approval. And, talking about the quote unquote, the quality of the wetlands that are being, we know the wetlands are being impacted by this project. That shouldn't have been an issue to anybody. And it took a kind of, we can segue for a second. It took some weird turn of events, the conversations, because people brought up, again, probably at the 11th hour, why we're not demolishing the existing school and rebuilding in place, why wetlands wasn't considered earlier, which is a good question, in my humble opinion. But it kind of sounded like, I think it remains to be seen when it all settles, whether or not inland wetlands actually approved it as is or not, because they introduced concepts like quality and quantity of wetlands. And I don't know what that, I personally don't know what that means.
Actually, I can clarify a little bit. I was at the meeting. They approved it with the stipulations, that are pretty easy to understand, getting experts, et cetera, to inspect during the project. But the one big one was either for them to create 4,000 square feet of wetlands on that property or adjoining property, or to change the footprint
Like rotate the building.
of the building, right, in order to remove it from any wetlands destruction. So,
Yeah. But to me, I looked at it and said, why, I mean, this has been going on for in excess of a year. Why it even becomes an issue at this juncture. And because we have a tight timetable. And it just surprised me that this kind of stuff comes up at the.
We're not the drivers, so it's hard for us to comment.
Yeah.
Also in their minutes of the zoning minutes of the 10th of September, they're discussed to extend the outdoor dining regulations until September 24th, which is no good because it's already passed. There is an executive order that's in place to have that extended to November 12th, so I assume they're going to update that outdoor regulation soon, since we're in October. And let's see, the Mobile Exxon station, they had a, oh yeah, they wanted to change their sign and they got approval for that. And that's basically the highlights of the zoning. Any other discussion of the zoning minutes of the 10th of September? If not, we'll move on. Okay. You guys have discussed, I think, somewhat in detail last time, the affordable housing article, which was forwarded to us by Gene, which was a very good article. Any more discussion of this article, or? I know George asked a question in the minutes about where did this thing come from? Is it a federal thing? No, it's not a federal thing now, but stay tuned. It may be, depending on what administration we get in.
Exactly.
However, this started, I did a little bit of research on this, and this law was enacted in 1989. Had 25 recommendations when they enacted the law, one of which concerned affordable housing appeals procedure. That's what we're talking about now. But so anyhow, this is basically a state law that we're doing when we're doing the affordable housing at this point in time. It's not a federal law. It's one that's been in effect since the late 80s, early 90s. So we stuck with it.
Exactly. Not a lot we can do.
And Gene sent me another article, which hopefully I can either shrink down to get to you or find it. I have some access to the News Times, but it's an article about zoning laws in Connecticut that are in effect right now about single family housing. Was in Sunday's paper, the 27th, in the News Times. It's about slicing up the suburbs, it's called. The issue of more than one family living in a single family zone district has become in front of local zoning boards for a generation, but there are new pressures. So we're common. The article talks about two families living in a single family house.
Yeah.
And some of the tear downs of single family houses and be replacing them with multi-families. I'll try to get a copy of this article out to you guys, either electronically or reduce it down to to a size that can be reproduced on a copier and get it to you or put it into the,
Give us the
Next
Reader's
time.
Digest condensed version.
yeah, try to anyhow.
For those old folks that remember the Reader's Digest.
Oh, I remember that. Right by it every time I go on that wonderful Sawmill Highway.
That's right. That caused Pleasantville, New York post office to become the busiest post office in the United States.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Pleasantville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They still publish it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, Reader's Digest is gone from the big building on the hill on a Sawmill. But yeah, it's still in publication. It doesn't have, I think at one point its circulation was in the 60 million kind of range. But obviously it's nowhere near what it was, but it's still around and it's still in publication.
any other items for information? No?
You're breaking up, John. You broke up. We didn't hear that last statement.
Any other items for informal discussion? No, okay.
No.
Table items, we already talked about the 5G technology in some detail already tonight. And have heard nothing from the sewer project, Candlewood District's shores. At this point, just remain tabled. So Linda, you can do your motion, I think.
Motion to adjourn.
That's my. Nice try. He's changed his name to Linda, apparently.
Did you second that, Linda?
No, let Linda have it and let Bruce second it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
All right, I second.
Okay.
I keep trying to get in there, but Linda always beats me.
That's right. My job.
Even with her slow internet connection, she beats me.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much for attending tonight, gentlemen, folks, ladies.
Ladies, pigs and cows.
I
We'll
have
see
a
you
quick
next
question
week.
before we adjourn. I have a
Yes.
quick question. I think in the update from the first selectman today that I got in the email, just like a town update, Alice, are they opening town hall? Will we be continuing to meet on Zoom for the next meeting? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. Nobody's told me.
Nobody's giving us
The-
guidance.
the
Yeah,
first
there,
the-
town hall is opening.
The land office manager is online here. Maybe she has some insight into it.
I do. We're opening to the public on Monday for during the day. Meetings, night meetings, they have not set a date yet for doing those in person because there's a lot to work out as far as who's going to be checking at the door, checking,
6 foot
asking
Yeah.
questions, doing that sort of thing.
Thermometer
So-
test and all that. Yeah.
And also we have to figure out probably a way to do it in a hybrid fashion for people who still don't want to come into the office.
Sure.
So
TBD.
hopefully November.
So it's all TBD.
Okay. While we're at it, with this COVID being such a big thing, I think we'll pass on a holiday party this year.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen?
Unless things change dramatically. We can always discuss that later.
Who knows what could happen if there's actually a phase 2 that some people talk about commingling with the flu and COVID.
No. All right, folks. Have a good one.
Righty.
Everybody enjoy. Thank you all.
Take
Bye.
care.